Welcome to the SUBTA Sound, a podcast focused on the ever-growing community of innovators, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and dedicated teams that are eager to scale their businesses and catalyze the subscription industry. We are the leading voice for the global subscription industry, and in each episode, we will take a deep dive into a specific subscription-related topic with a leading subject area expert.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SUBTA Sound. I'm super excited today. We have Christine from BumpBox. Christine, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm really excited to tell everybody about bump boxes.
I appreciate it a ton.
Yeah.
And Christine, so I know you started in 2015, was that right? Is that when you
Yes, we did.
Great.
Yeah.
Why don't you give a quick cliff notes and background of yourself and how you started and what made you dive into the subscription box world?
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick high level overview. So I was a CPA at a Fortune 50 company, and I was pregnant with my daughter. And at that time, when you get that positive pregnancy test, like nothing in the world can describe the feelings you get. It's like just pure excitement and joy. And then about 10 seconds later, it's just sheer panic, right? Because it's like, okay, now every decision that I make directly impacts my child in some way, shape, or form. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a step back, really look at like my lifestyle, what I was eating, the skincare I was using, and everything as a whole, and make sure that I was making the best decisions for my daughter. And so through that stress, I talked to other friends. They were also hitting that stressful point, when they were thinking about becoming pregnant and actually being pregnant for the first time. And so I'm like, there's no place where you can go where you can find safe and healthy products for pregnancy and beyond. Nobody was screening for specific ingredients, that were endocrine disrupting or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, there's opportunity here to fix that stress for mom and to make her life easier. And that was really what got us started with bump boxes. So, I worked at my corporate job for about a year and a half, and my husband and I were working on bump boxes at night. So we were basically doing 2 full-time jobs with, a 1-year-old. So that was a lot of fun. So
you're packing the boxes at home, right? And
it was in our house. It was in our house. My dining room table, like I had set up each themed box, and we were just kind of messing around and brainstorming with how we wanted this to flow. And it was just crazy when it first started. And
this is monthly. The boxes are monthly.
Yes, right? Yes, the boxes are monthly. Yeah, so mom can sign up at any point during her pregnancy, and she gets a box specifically tailored to that month of her pregnancy with about products. And they're all themed around something she's going through at that time. So let's say she signs up in month 2 of her pregnancy. We know that she's starting to experience those initial pregnancy symptoms like fatigue, morning sickness, heartburn, you name it. There's probably 15 different things you can feel, when you're early on. And so we package product to help alleviate those symptoms at that time. And then let's say she signs up in month 8. That box is called our Be Ready box because we know mom is preparing to go to the hospital and deliver. And so we're like, okay, anything you would need in your hospital bag, we have all this product here for you, and you don't have to stress out. So it's all highly tailored, highly customized to where mom is at in her pregnancy.
And is there more to than just like, so I think especially for like first time moms, it can be scary, right? I don't have a kid yet, but I can imagine. I got brothers that have kids. I got 6 nieces and nephews. So, I know that
so just from an uncle's perspective,
right. Like I know that my sister-in-law, like on the 3rd child, it was like a walk in the park versus like the first one. Like she was in and out. She was like, "Get me out of the hospital," like an hour later, right? Are you communicating? Are you providing content? Let's say communicating maybe via email or sort of engaging the community outside of getting the box every month? Let's talk about that.
Yes. So like we are very hyper focused on the actual experience. So what's interesting about bump boxes and what we do a little differently is we actually call every subscriber we have after they put in their initial order. So we are all about making that connection with mom. Our mission is to make mom's life easier. So when we call mom, it's a call to say, hey mom, like, thanks for joining the Bump Boxes family. I'm here for you. Even if you're like craving something.
This is when, after the first box?
Yes, when they initially sign up with us.
Wow. And so how many calls are you guys making a week?
Oh, a lot.
So I want to take a step back
endeavor.
real quick because I would say that I've talked to, I don't know, hundreds of different direct-to-consumer subscriptions. And nobody does that. So that's super impressive. Like that's so for us, like I've seen brands, and we've got a brand where we send a personal note on the very first box. You hear about Chewy.com that sends out like millions of like handwritten Christmas notes.
Oh yeah.
And nobody's said that they've made a phone call, and I think that's awesome. I think like what you're helping to sort of enforce is that we're not asking the consumer to subscribe to us. We're asking them to be in a relationship with us. Right. And that's what's super important. So like I think that's amazing. I love it. And I'm so glad to hear it. I think that everybody listening, like, this is great. Like you should think about how you can incorporate that into your business.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the thing that we're trying to do, and I think a lot of other subscription box services, I mean, they should really think about making the connection, because it's not just a subscription box. Like there's so much more opportunity there to really connect with your subscribers, right? And so, especially in our case, I mean, this is a very pivotal time in someone's life. And as a first-time mom, you don't know anything and you're terrified. I mean, like I felt it, other moms have felt it. And so we just want to make sure that like we are her go-to place to go. Yeah. Even if she's craving something, like we will give her food recommendations in her city. It doesn't matter. Like
you see them engaging with you, where they're like sending in questions, and like you have a sort of chat service or hotline? What does that look like?
Yeah. So for our customer experience, we have chat, they can call in, they can email, they can even go out on social. I mean, there's multiple
what's the social engagement like? What's the community look like right now on social?
Oh,
see, other members are helping other members. Like, is that happening?
It is, and they're actually communicating with each other, which is what you want to see with a community, right?
Of course.
It's like once you start to see the engagement and you're not facilitating it, you're just providing the room for it. You know that's gold. Yeah. So and I think the other thing that is just really unique, I mean, our customers are so connected with us. They send in sonogram pictures, they send in birth announcements. I mean, it's like so. And the great part is, on our customer experience team, like we're all moms here. So like we know exactly what they're going through. Yeah. And so we're just really excited to be that resource. So like we also provide content, but the connection is really, really important for us.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's funny. I was going to ask you if you get like after the baby's born photos from customers and things like that. That's amazing. I wonder if you could build some like collage of all your customers or something, all the kids. That's awesome. So are you seeing
Go ahead.
Yeah, you were gonna say you guys have thought of something like that to put together like a collage.
Like in our customer experience room, like everyone kind of has a board and they just have pictures of customers, babies, and it's so cool.
That's
like
awesome.
and we talk about it. We have a once a month, we call it our Bump It Up meeting, where it's like an all employee meeting, and we talk about that and kind of share those stories too, because it's so important. So important.
I think what's super important about the different things you're telling me that you've done in regards to engaging the consumers, that really increases the lifetime value of the consumer, right?
Oh, yes, hands down.
They've got a relationship with the brand. They love you guys, you love them. They want to stay on forever. And so you were able to say, hey, you know what? Once they have the baby, like, well, now I need to do something else for them, right?
Yes.
So started the next box, which was what was it again?
Bitsy boxes.
Bitsy box. So and so what percentage of your current members that get through the bump box convert to the Bitsy box?
Oh, the majority. I mean, when you look, so like so what was interesting, even in the beginning, we had moms sticking with us for 2 or 3 years. And so the problem for us was, okay, like here we are, mom has a 2-year-old and we're still sending her a pink box with a pregnant woman on it, right? But we are still sending products relevant to the child's development, and we were doing all these things, but we weren't marketing it as that service. And so we're like, okay, we have got to change and rebrand this side of our business, because moms are staying with us so long, you know, that we want her to know that Bitsy exists, that it's that it's okay to stay on. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so Well, I'm going to ask some questions that, let's see, that I think that maybe there's another side of making this phone call. I just want to challenge it for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an amazing idea, but
Yeah.
Are there situations where you go to make that first phone call and then you got to deal with like customer service? You're like, hey, like I didn't get the box yet, or I hated it. Like, does that happen sometimes? I'm sure.
Not
As much?
typically.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
not usually. Yeah, not usually. And so like what we do is we do a great job of making that connection. So that way, if there ever is an issue, they feel comfortable contacting us
Yeah.
immediately, right?
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, because that's what's really important for us is because we want to keep that feedback loop really tight. Because that way we can speed up our testing process. So like by being so close to the customers and even talking to the customers on a daily basis, it's like our feedback loop is very, very quick. So like when we do those initial calls, if we get any feedback like that, we'll know immediately and we can make changes within a week. I mean, it's fast. So we're constantly iterating and testing things all the time.
And so let's talk for some of the new startups that might be listening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you've built this to scale, right?
Yeah.
But at one point you were working out of the house and you did this. I'm assuming Scrappy, and not sure if you raised any money or not. If you just built this right from the ground up. But let's talk about. I think you've done what's at top level in terms of customer experience, right? But we got to get customers first to start building that experience. So let's talk about some of the early stage strategies that you put in place to get from that 10 a month that are your friends and family to like hitting that like 1,000 and then like from there just taking off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that, in the beginning, you have to do things that do not scale, right? It's like, sometimes like when you first start, you have to kind of take a step back and don't be romantic about it. You just have to sell.
Yes.
And
Scrappy.
Yes, you have to be scrappy. You just have to go out and do the work. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. It's like, okay, how many people are you calling? And out of, the 100 calls that you're making, how many of those are converting into customers?
Yeah.
Right.
And you were, okay, not literally that analogy, but you're saying that analogy, like not like you weren't really calling people to sell them bump boxes, were you? You were just, what were you doing?
I was in the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, so where were you drafting? Where were you getting the phone numbers from?
Yeah. So like so what I was doing, especially on the B2B side of things. So when we were first starting, I was contacting surrogacy agencies to start. Just to get my foot in the door. Yeah. And so I remember, making 100 phone calls and I'm like, okay, by the end of the day, I'm going to close 5 of these.
Yeah.
And if I close 5, then we're going to call another 100. You know what I mean? And just
so did you start on the B2B side and then you went to
so we originally started on the B2C side.
Got it.
Yep. And then when we were testing that B2B channel, that's when those calls started. And on the B2C side, what we did is we tried to get in front of as many moms as possible in the beginning. So we would go to mom trade shows. We would do what we could to get in front of mom, to really start to get that visibility, and to let her know that we were here. But then we do a lot on the marketing front to kind of get in front of mom and get in front of her fast too.
And you started B2C, and then you made this, added an arm of B2B. Let's talk about what that transition looked like. When was it like, this actually makes sense to do it this way? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started B2C, and it was interesting. About 3 years in, we started getting interest from companies contacting us. And we were like, okay, there's something here, like we really have to explore what's kind of going on in the landscape.
What were they asking?
Yep. Yeah, so they were saying, hey, we want to start recognizing our employees that are pregnant. Can you guys help us with that?
Yeah.
And that's how it started. So it was this need to really help these corporations create that connection with their employees. And so like, let's say, a corporation, like they're typically getting like lower than standard survey results from parents. It's like, okay, bump boxes, how can you help me alleviate that? Or how do you help me increase these results?
Yeah.
Because we all know, I mean, even after diving in, it's like, okay, we know that if parents are happy, retention goes up, engagement goes up, productivity goes up. So there's a huge ROI component here, which is what's sparking the interest. And so it's like, okay, how do we, during the most pivotal time in someone's life, which is starting a family, I mean, it's a huge moment. Yeah. How do we ensure that the employee knows that we're here for them and that we're encouraging that and that we're happy for them? And so I think that that's really what sparked it, was this inbound interest. And so once we landed our first couple of clients, we're like, okay, we're going to try to do some outbound and see what happens. And again, kind of going back to the let's just get on the phone and sell stuff. Like, let's go talk to them. We have to get them on the phone and learn.
Under your belt, build some credibility, able to use them as a reference. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, that's amazing. Okay, real quick, before we get into the next, my next question, we're going to take a quick break and talk about one of our great SUBTA partners.
This episode is brought to you by Refersion. Refersion manages, tracks, and grows your affiliate marketing program, allowing you to stay focused on building your subscription-based brand. With Refersion, you can not only recruit an infinite number of affiliates and influencers, but you'll be able to analyze data to best optimize your marketing strategy. Head over to Refersion.com for a free 14-day trial and experience advanced affiliate marketing made simple. Need advice on how to grow your subscription-based business in an increasingly competitive marketplace? Partner with Plug Digital, a leading e-commerce design and development agency. Plug Digital is a team of experienced e-commerce experts that offers web design and development services, speed optimizations, site redesigns, customizations, and more. An optimized website is a necessity rather than a luxury. Take your subscription-based business to the next level. Call Plug Digital at 855-452-8237 or visit plugdigital.io to schedule a free consultation.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you again to our SUBTA partners and all the support for SUBTA and our SUBTA members. We've got Christine here talking about bump boxes and the amazing growth you've had and just what you're doing in general, I think, for women, which is amazing, right?
So, yeah, thanks.
I'm big on like impact, right? And like how we can help improve the lives of those around us, right? Yeah. I would say it's not about what you had, it's about what you give, right? And so I think what you're doing is it's amazing because you're helping moms, especially first-time moms, get through this process that can be very scary. Are there other elements of what you're doing that, in terms of having sort of impact or give back, that you've been doing with the business?
Yeah, so we, and actually this is relatively new and recent. So yesterday we launched the Bump Fund. So we are actually, we're actually investing up to $1 million in other mom-focused companies. And so this is all centered around, when I look at our industry, and even just from my own experience, there's not a lot of dollars that are available to mom-focused companies. I experienced it. I think, it's a sector that's overlooked, just from my own experience and from speaking with other moms who have mom-focused companies. And that was something that we really wanted to do, is really address that problem. Like, now that we've grown to where we are today, it's like now we have to fix the issues within the industry. And I'm just really excited that our team is taking that on, and leading the charge with that. It's really, really exciting, and it's not, it could be, anywhere in the United States. It's not, it doesn't have to be located, in our hometown. And it's just supposed to be mom focused. So it could be a mom, who started a company from the ground up. It could be, someone else focused on fixing an issue with mom. But at the end of the day, it's, as long as the company is making mom's life easier, that's what we're focused on. And that's what we want to invest in.
So it doesn't have to be ran necessarily by a mom, but it could be a product for moms.
Right. Exactly.
Or a service for moms. That's right.
Yep, exactly.
And you said it's under focused or under, there's an opportunity there, you feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting, because there's moms popping up. New moms are probably popping up, I don't know, every second. I don't know how often a child is being born, but it's probably popping up very often, right? So
yes,
it's interesting, because there's there's always going to be moms, right? And
yes.
We all need our mom, right? So,
yes,
so that's interesting. Then I think that's good that you kind of saw that opportunity. I think it's interesting how you fall into certain businesses, right? Like,
I know. Well, and I think it was just really, it was really important to us, just kind of like through our own story and when we were looking to raise and, and what that all entails, it was just really interesting to me, just seeing all these other amazing mom focused companies and they were getting overlooked by funding. And so it's like, how do we bridge that gap?
Yep.
And, whether you bootstrap or you raise millions of dollars, like either one is fine, as long as the opportunity is there. Right. And so it's like, as long as we create the opportunity, like I want more moms to be successful. Yeah. I want to help them, yeah. And I really want to be there, to help them grow. It's really important for us.
So it's not like that's at the core.
Yeah.
The core of the business is like, we want to help moms, right? And so
absolutely.
Product and service is second. I think that's great. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, so you did do a raise within your business. Did you do that when you first started? Did you do that halfway through or 6 months in? Let's talk about what that looked like.
Yeah.
How you did it, how hard it can be, right? Like, and what that looks like now in regards to like, your current investors.
Right. So we were about a year in and we took on a small angel round. And so that really helped us, like once we kind of navigated and got that first year under our belt, that really helped us propel the business. But the beauty of it is, especially for subscriptions, it's like the profitability of the model should then get reinvested into the business, right? So the need for raising, it just depends on how fast you want to grow or what you want to do as to why you need the raise. But with the reoccurring revenue, I mean, you should be able to be profitable and then reinvest that profitability back in the business. And so for us, that was amazing, in order to structure the business this way. Because we could, we were profitable, we were reinvesting it. So we didn't have to go out and raise VC capital, right? Like we didn't have to go out and raise millions of dollars. And so that was really beneficial for us. Like, was it the easiest way to go? No. You know what I mean? Like we self-funded it, right? Like my husband and I did. So, so I think that, if we can make that easier for someone else, especially in the mom space, amazing. But I think that there's something to be said for the recurring revenue model that subscription businesses have. Yep. Right. And so I think that that's super important. And it allows you to plan. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think just from an inventory perspective, it's a great business model for sure.
So let's talk about some takeaways for businesses that are looking to get into the subscription space.
Yes.
We believe that subscriptions are all part of our lives, right? And I don't know if you saw our SUBTA annual report, but it shows that by 2023, 75% of e-commerce businesses will have a subscription model. So
the growth is crazy. And and like I think people are just starting to realize the power of recurring revenue. I mean, I think like SaaS companies always understood that, but now it's like
but you're taking a different level because you're going after the consumers on the subscriptions, direct to consumer side.
Right.
So there's brands that are e-commerce brands that are thinking about pivoting to the model. There's new entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting a subscription, direct to consumer, whether it's digital, whether it's a subscription box, whether it's a membership. What would you say would be 3 takeaways or 3 things that you've learned that they can take away?
Yes.
For somebody thinking about moving to the model or starting. So, maybe in your case, we can think about a new mom that wants to start a subscription. What would be 3 things you might tell her? And we can start with the first one.
Ooh, yeah. I think the first would be, it would be being scrappy. I think we touched on this at the very beginning, but
I love it.
I think here's the thing, like, especially, depending on where you're at, I think the biggest thing for me to realize was that just because you launch something, it doesn't mean anyone cares.
Yeah.
And I say that meaning that like you can launch a website and you can do all these things, but that's actually not the hard work.
Yep.
The work doesn't stop there; it actually starts there. So
it's not field of dreams, right? Just because you build a baseball field doesn't mean they're going to come. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't launch a website and expect
everybody
like hundreds of millions of people to know about it and go immediately. So, you have to be willing to grind it out, and you have to be willing to learn. Because I think it's like once you launch something, then you have to figure out the marketing angle. You have to figure out how to sell it. You have to figure out what your customers actually want. And then you have to keep testing and reiterating until you get it right. So that would be the first thing, is being scrappy. And then I think the second thing is to not put any artificial barriers in your way. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have, is we want it to be perfected before we launch. And I think that eventually holds people back, because sometimes they just don't launch it.
Can you give me an example of where you've seen that?
Oh yeah. So I think like even in my own case, you know, I am a perfectionist by nature. So like I'm always like pumping the brakes, making sure things are perfect, and my husband is the gas pedal. He's like go, 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 you know, launch, launch, launch. And we make a great team because of that.
Yeah.
But that's something I learned early on, is sometimes you have to like take a step back, get it out into the world, and see what the customers are resonating with.
Like a minimum viable product. Yeah, get something out there.
Yeah, you don't want to overdevelop something. It's like, get it out there. Don't waste a ton of time and money over developing it. Get it out there, see what's resonating with people, and then that should dictate your direction where you go, right? Yeah, so like that's what I would say. And then I think the other thing I would say is to be open to learn. You have to realize and be open to knowing what you don't know, and knowing what your weaknesses are, and then finding people to put in those pivotal roles to make it happen. So I mean, and that's something that, like, especially as entrepreneurs starting out, that's like the main thing you can do to be successful, is like, okay, I know for a fact I'm terrible at graphic design. I can't design anything. And that was one of the first people I hired. You know,
I think it's so funny. God, me and you could probably chat for hours. Because that is number 3 is probably the most important takeaway from all of this. I always say, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you talk. So especially when you're in a room with a lot of people that are super successful or that know a lot, like soak it in, right? There's so much to be learned. There isn't an entrepreneur that knows everything, and if they think they know everything, they're probably not on the way to success. Right. So always be learning. And I think team is important, right? And you just mentioned it. Like, know you're not good at something and hire somebody really good at. I think here in my office, like, everybody's better than me at everything. I'll make sure that they get it done, right? Like,
yes. Well, like you have to like surround yourself with people that are as open to learning as you are, right? Because then it's like, okay, if you have, if your team, has the same core values you do, and they're open to learning, and they're willing to like get better, and like really go after it every single day, then like it's an unstoppable feeling. Just kind of like what you said, you come in and everyone else is just killing it. I mean, that's the best thing. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. I think that for everybody listening, that's super important. Hire an amazing team, build an amazing culture, right?
Yes.
Align everybody with the same vision, focus on the core values, and you got a recipe for success. Accompany that with being scrappy, and you can get there. Christine, this has been amazing. I want to thank you for jumping on the podcast with us, and everybody. Christine said she's going to be out at SubSummit this year. Come out, come meet her.
Yes,
an amazing business, and look forward to chatting with you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much.